Howdy folks, and welcome back to Pool School. So, what causes your suction side vacuum to circle around itself? Well, in this episode of Pool School, I'm going to try and answer that question and give you some things to look at to see how you can figure out what's causing it. So what do you say we get to it? Alrighty, before we get started, I want to thank you for watching this video. Remind you to like it if you do. Subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already, and please share my channel with everyone you know who owns a pool. Also, do not forget to check out my membership website, poolschooler.com. It'll come across the screen right here, poolschooler.com. It's full of more exclusive members-only content that will help you save even more money servicing your pool yourself. Hey, one quick note. Just to let you know, this video is more generic, so what I'm not going to be addressing is specific vacuum brands or types like Zodiacs or Navigators or Haywards or the pool cleaner, things like that. I'm not going to get into specifics of the mechanical issues that could be causing your pool vacuum to spin on itself as it pertains to the particular vacuum. These are 5 things, and there's just 5 of them, that you can check before you go into looking at the vacuum itself that could be causing your vacuum, regardless of what kind it is, as long as it is a suction side vacuum, to coil on itself or spin around on itself. And so that's what these things are about. And then after you go through those, then you can be more specific and see if those didn't work or help, which they probably will. Then you can check out maybe if there's something wrong with your particular vacuum. So remember, that's what this video is about. It's more general than it is specific. Okay, I'm at one of my clients' pools, and so the first thing you want to check at, it has to do with the current of your pool. Understand this. Typically, most suction side vacuums, like this Zodiac G3, which is my favorite vacuum. If you haven't seen my video on that, check out the link in the description of this video and put a link in there, and you can check out why I love this Barracuda G3 the most out of all the vacuums in the market. But you notice that the hoses, like this one, float on the surface of the water. So the vacuum movement is going to be more dramatically affected by any current on the surface of the water than it is below the surface of water. For that reason, okay, at least the Barracuda manufacturers recommend that you point the return jets of your pool down. So I'm going to go over here. It's kind of hard because the vacuum is moving, but if you look at the return jets or return ports of this pool, they're pointed downward. I don't know if you can see this one right here. I'm going to come over here and take a look at it. If you notice, that return port is pointed downwards, okay? And so I take all my pools that have a suction side vacuum and I point the return ports down, not in order to create a circular motion when you're pointing them to the side. If you point them to the side, you're going to create a circular motion, and guess what that's going to do? It's going to cause the vacuum itself to circle, and there you go, it's circling on itself. If you point it to the surface, it's going to push the hoses away from that area, and so at the very least you're going to end up with a dead spot. So first and foremost, adjust the return ports or the return jets of your pool downward, and that will maybe make the difference. That's mostly the most common reason why I find that these pool vacuums circle on themselves. The second reason that your vacuum may at least miss spots, if not circle on itself, has to do with a similar principle about current and the surface current of the water, okay? You notice this pool has a water feature, which I just turned on, and that water feature is creating a lot of current, okay? And if this is running during the time that your vacuum is running, it could create a current that can push the vacuum hoses away from that end of the pool, causing it to miss that end of the pool altogether, or create enough of a current, depending on the type of return that you have or type of water feature that you have, could cause the hoses to start spinning on themselves. Your vacuum ends up turning around on itself instead of covering the pool. So, second thing, make sure that anytime you run your pool vacuum, your suction side vacuum, that all water features, waterfall, overflow of your spa, aerators are off and not running, so it doesn't affect the movement of your vacuum. So that's number 2. For item number 3, I've come back to the pool equipment because another common reason that your pool vacuum will circle on itself is because you have typically or usually too much suction to your vacuum. Okay, so if it's a suction issue, it's usually that you have too much suction to the vacuum, because when you have too much suction in the vacuum, it can actually constrict or it's trying to collapse the hoses, and the hoses can actually start to coil on themselves, and that can cause your vacuum to circle on itself. So the third thing, again, adjust the suction of the vacuum. Typically adjust it down, but you might have to adjust it up. So again, don't take it, if you notice, this is the suction here to the vacuum. Okay, this one's labeled. I'm not gonna go into detail on this. Don't crank it all the way down, because then you shut it off. Make a little adjustment, just take a little adjustment. So if it was here, just adjust it one notch. Just adjust it one little click and see if that makes a difference, okay? And then play around with it. Sometimes it could be a combination of all of these things. So just kind of play around with it and adjust and see if they help. And once you get it done, then you're golden. Okay, so the fourth thing that it could be has to do with the hoses. If you notice, typically with a suction side vacuum, the recommendation for how many lengths of hoses you need is you need enough lengths of hoses so that the vacuum will reach from where it plugs into the dedicated line or wherever it plugs into, which is right there, to the farthest area away from the pool. Now this vacuum actually, if I took that vacuum and put it all the way over there to that end of the pool, it would just reach, okay? So maybe with a little extra, but if you have too many hoses on your vacuum, too many lengths of hoses, it can cause the vacuum to at very least stick somewhere, and a lot of times it'll cause it to just coil up on itself. So make sure that you have the right amount of lengths of hoses, and typically not too many. You don't need an excess amount, okay? You just need it to be able to reach the farthest area from the actual plug-in port to where it needs to go, and that's about accurate right there. So that's number 4. And number 5 on the list of things that could be causing your suction side vacuum to circle on itself has to do with the hose weight. Now I'm going to come over here to the other side of the pool and have you look at it because as it wraps around. Most pool vacuums that are suction side have a weight that comes with the vacuum that you attach to a particular portion of the length of hose. You notice right there, 1.5 lengths of hose away from the vacuum itself, there's a little blue thing hanging on or clipped onto the hose. That's a weight. That kind of pulls it down a little bit and keeps it from completely floating and pulling the vacuum up too high. Typically with this manufacturer, they recommend putting the weight 1.5 vacuum hose lengths away from the vacuum itself. So there it is, 1.5 lengths. There have been times when I've had to put it half a length up as opposed to 1.5 lengths. But start with the manufacturer's recommendation if you have a weight that comes with it. And see if that makes a difference. Don't put your weight way over on the other end because that's not going to help at all. I've never seen that help. And some vacuums, like the pool cleaner, have a float, and that kind of helps the hose stay upright. So again, try to follow the manufacturer's recommendations and then make adjustments, slight adjustments, to see if that helps. If it causes your pool vacuum to circle on itself. But again, check those other 4 things to make sure that that's not the issue first. Alrighty folks, there you have it. 5 things that could be causing your suction side vacuum to circle on itself. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it made sense. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below this video, or you can email me directly. My email address will come across the bottom of the screen right here. As always, it is kennypoolschool@gmail.com. Once again, kennypoolschool@gmail.com. Thank you again for watching this video. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to check out my membership website, poolschooler.com. And until we meet again, remember to have fun, be safe, and always watch those kids and elderly folk and pets around water. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.